Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here. We got the college basketball national championship. We got Michigan versus UConn, Dan Hurley versus Dusty May. This is going to be a real interesting, real fun matchup. Michigan currently a 6.5-point favorite in this one, coming off of an absolutely dominant performance against Arizona. UConn coming off of a really nice win over Illinois, where offensively they looked great. Defensively, Illinois wasn't able to hit shots. And you look at what Michigan did as well in their game, just dominant overall fashion on every aspect of basketball. Defensively looked really great. Offensively looked really great as well. Obviously, Yaxel is going to be the main talking point going into this national championship game. What percentage of health will Yaxel be? He did say that he is absolutely playing in this game no matter what. It does seem like maybe there might have been a little bit like an MCL sprain, possibly, but that's not going to hold him out. And then you also have a little bit of a conversation happening for UConn side of things. Solo Ball is uncertain right now if he's going to play. And honestly, if he doesn't play, I think that's a really big loss for UConn. I know UConn this year, especially this tournament, has been really reliant on guys like Tarris Reed. Braylon Mullins obviously hit the big shot. You obviously have Alex Caravan. But I thought Solo Ball has been playing pretty well overall for UConn this tournament, especially the last game against Illinois. So I think if he doesn't play, that's obviously definitely going to hurt UConn in this one, because what Michigan obviously has going for itself is obviously the front court, right? You got a guy in Ademara, you got Morez Johnson. Those guys have been absolutely dominant. But the best part in last game, in my opinion, outside of Ademara, was actually the guards. I thought Elliot Cadeau has been really masterful this NCAA tournament. He's going to be a huge part of what Michigan's going to do in this one. Obviously, I already talked about Yaxel, Namari Burnett, Riley Gale has been a big part of it. Trey McKinney's obviously going to continue to be a big part of it. And I really think if you look at just the overall matchup of this one, I think guards could be really interesting, obviously, with Solo Ball, but you also have Braylon Mullins starting to shoot a little bit better. You have Alex Caravan, maybe one of the all-time greatest winners in NCAA basketball history. Like, just the amount of winning he's done in his career. Obviously, it's been helped out when you have a coach in Dan Hurley. That's another matchup I'm going to be really interested. Dan Hurley versus Dusty May. Dan Hurley typically doesn't lose in these spots. UConn historically is really, really good. You look at Michigan historically in the national championship, not necessarily the greatest record overall, really great in semifinal games. They're undefeated in semifinal games, but Michigan's looking for their second national championship. Dusty's looking for his first, obviously. This is going to be a real fun matchup. I think really the main keys to this game, I think, is going to be, one, can Tarris Reed be efficient near the basket? If you look at the teams that beat Michigan, it's been either teams that have gotten really hot from the outside, which was Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin got really hot, made a ton of threes, or teams that were really efficient from the inside. You talk about Duke, you talk about Purdue, right? And Arizona, while they were efficient at times, they were overall extremely efficient, and I think Tarris Reed has been pretty good at being efficient. Obviously, Tarris Reed, former Wolverine, another really interesting kind of dialogue that can be had, but it's going to be really difficult going up against just the physicality, the size that Michigan has. I think Tarris Reed is going to need to be absolutely massive. I think UConn's going to have to try to find ways to get him involved early and often. And I think if you can do that and really force Michigan to kind of play that physical style, maybe there's a chance that they kind of come down a little bit, leave open shooters. And Braylon Mullins, a guy that has been hitting more shots. Obviously, Alex Caravan, he's a guy that obviously can really spread the court. He's a guy that can shoot from three really, really efficiently. I think that matchup is going to be another interesting one. And then you look on the opposite side of the court as well. You have to talk about what Michigan does really, really well. Michigan, obviously, Yaxel is great. Yaxel is absolutely fantastic. I do wonder, again, what this injury will do Obviously, they have other guys that can slash towards the basket. Riley Gale is a big part of that. But if he's not 100%, I do wonder if he's going to be kind of a guy that's going to be more of an outside shooter, which is completely fine if you're Michigan, if we're going to be completely honest with ourselves, because he's shooting one of the highest percentage from threes in the country in the NCAA tournament in general recently. So he's been really good at making his shots. I think that's going to be something to keep an eye on for. Elliot Cadeau, I think, is another guy I've already kind of mentioned to keep an eye on for. He's been really good this year. He's been be able to find guys open, but he's also had a little bit of turnover issues as well. And I think really the last thing to kind of keep an eye on for in this specific matchup is really what this game looks like going in at halftime. And I think that in itself kind of shows you what this game could be, because obviously Michigan's a 6.5 point favorite, right? Like a lot of people have Michigan winning this game. I think Michigan does win this game. I think Dusty May and Michigan wins the national championship. I think they're the best team in college basketball, obviously for reasons, right? And they've just been dominating everyone. They've scored over 90 points in every single game that they played in the NCAA tournament. Defensively, they've been phenomenal. But I think it's really going to be about what's the score at halftime, because there hasn't been a ton of games, especially in the NCAA tournament, where it's been close. And even when it has been close, those were kind of a little bit more early on in the tournament type of games, which obviously that can be a little bit worrying, but against those types of opponents, you kind of expect to kind of blow them out in the second half, which is exactly what Michigan has done. But really, against like the quote unquote better opponents that they played, going into halftime, it was a 10+ point game. And that in itself is extremely difficult, especially coming back from this Michigan team. It's really hasn't happened too much. Michigan State almost did it in Breslin, obviously fell a little bit short, but it's really, really difficult to come back from 10+ after half. It's been able to be done. UConn specifically did against Duke, right? But again, I think this Michigan team is much better than that Duke team at that point, because obviously they weren't completely healthy. So I think UConn is obviously going to need to not only start fast, but they're going to have to play well in the first half. And this Michigan team, even if they don't play well in that first half, they're a second half team, and they've really showed it, right? Like even if it's like a couple possession game, like maybe even UConn's up at halftime, if you're Michigan, in my opinion, there's nothing to be worried about. Now, I do wonder if this game kind of goes down towards the end and it's really close. Who are you going to believe in more? Who's going to be the guy that you're going to go to more? Is it going to be a Dan Hurley type coach? Is it going to be a Dusty May? That might get a little bit uncomfortable, but also Michigan's been able to win close games as well throughout this season. UConn obviously has done that in the NCAA tournament as well. But both teams coming into this one playing really, really well. Michigan absolutely has been the most dominant team in the NCAA tournament. I think, like I said, because I think Michigan ends up winning this game and winning their second national championship and first under Dusty May. But I wonder what Dan Hurley has kind of drawn up. Dan Hurley obviously is a very scary coach going up against. UConn does have things that I think they can attack, they can use in this game. But I just think Michigan, obviously, with a little bit of the bench, with just the overall athleticism, size, just talent, shooting wise as well, I think they have a little bit too much, because Michigan's been really good shooting the ball overall too. I think if Michigan shoots 40% from three, UConn doesn't have a chance. UConn's going to have to be really good defensively against the three. They're going to have to force Michigan to take tough shots. And when they've done that in the past, been close games, but no team has been able to do that recently. And we'll see if UConn does it. And if they do, maybe we have an interesting game. But we'll see what happens. And obviously, after the game happens, I'll obviously recap. I'll talk about what happened, who won, why they won, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you tune into that episode as well. But thanks for tuning into the NCAA tournament content. Really appreciate everyone for tuning in. It's been a lot of support. Recently been a lot of fun. Can't believe this is a national championship game. Please don't leave, though. Please support the other content. There's more content coming every single day. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Please feel free to share this with friends, family, anyone that you know. Really excited for this game and can't believe the national championship is here. Thanks for tuning in, and tune in to the next episode.